Thank you, sir. Has the department excuse me, exceeded its discharge limits for total nitrogen from the Bellozanne sewage treatment plant into St Albans Bay? And if so, by how much and for how long?
Minister.
Thank you, sir. The department has exceeded its total nitrogen limit on the discharge from the sewage treatment works and has done so since the limit was first introduced in the late 1990s. So this is not new information. On average, it is 4 times higher than the limit of 10 milligrams per litre that was imposed by the regulator. However, it can peak to over 6 times higher at certain periods. This stringent standard was introduced in the 1990s after an upgrade to cope with an increasing population and was based on compliance with the European Urban Wastewater Treatment Directive. The limit was imposed as a precautionary measure at the time to protect St Albans Bay. However, this was based on just one summer season of sampling and testing. Subsequent testing of the bay has shown that, in fact, no nitrogen removal would be required under the Urban Wastewater Treatment Directive.
Does the Minister consider that the proposed new plant will be sufficient to deal with this problem? And does he perhaps not think that the population part of the policies of the Council of Ministers should be dealt with urgently in order to prevent recurrence of this as the new plant comes on stream?
Minister, yes. Sorry, is there...
That's the trouble when you don't use them, eh?
They're back.
Right, very well, Minister. If, I think you may have a problem alone there.
Yes. The new plant has been designed for a population based on grosser. It's been designed for a population of 118,000 islanders, plus further expansion of 20%, sir. That takes us up to a population, including visitors, obviously, of some 140,000, sir. You can't just base the plant on those living in the island. You have to base it on the population at any one time, including our tourism numbers, sir.
Deputy Lewis, something?
Thank you, sir. There's been much speculation about the contribution that this outfall makes to the sea lettuce in St Albans Bay. I wonder if the Minister could clarify as to whether this does contribute very much to that issue or not. There seems to be some conflicting information out there, both from your department and other independent bodies, as to whether it is having much impact at all. I'm sure it's one component of many that is contributing to it. Perhaps the Minister could clarify. Thank you.
Sir, thank you. I'm going to read out a few short quotes, if I may, sir, to give it onto this. Despite recent opinions about the cause, it is clear that the blooms were not just caused by human-made nutrients flowing into the harbour, as some people believe. And a second quote, sir, sea lettuce is a naturally occurring algae. The variations is abundance from year to year, and place to place, and strongly influenced by uncontrollable factors such as wind, tide, and coastal currents, which affect water temperatures and nutrient levels. So I quote from an article that was published in New Zealand, because this is not just a problem for St Albans Bay, sir. It's not just a problem for the French coast. It is a worldwide problem. And so, in the direct answer to Deputy Kevin Lewis, Andrew Lewis's question, sir, I don't believe that the outflow from the sewage treatment works, or indeed the outflow from the streams going into St Albans Bay from our watercourse, are the sole cause of the blooms that we get in St Albans Bay over the last few summers, sir. They certainly add to the problem, but they are not the cause. We have a report that was commissioned by the Department of the Environment by a firm experts called Cascade, which clearly show that, in fact, as you go out towards the Minkies and towards into the Bay of St Malo, that nitrate levels continue to rise, sir. And so some 80+% of the nitrates in St Albans Bay are actually coming from offshore Jersey, sir.
Deputy Eddie.
So, notwithstanding what the Minister just said, I think that SOS's research is at odds with Save Our Shoreline, that is. We see pictures following the outflow where the green algae is there, almost like a tree coming out from the sewage outlet, sir. So I think that point is moot. But does the Minister agree with me that it's actually important to treat the cause here, not just the symptoms? And I know that he supports user pays in Jersey increasingly, but does he also support polluter pays in this instance?
So I encourage Deputy Tadger to relook at those images produced by Save Our Shoreline, because his interpretation is certainly not my interpretation, sir. But I do agree with him that we do need to tackle the cause. And the cause of the high nitrate levels in our water is because it's in our water. It's not because it's necessarily in our sewage treatment plants. When you've got water coming out of your tap, sir, that's 40 to 50 milligrams per litre, then it's not surprising that the water that's coming from the sewage treatment plant will have a similar level of nitrates in that water, sir.
And a supplementary, what work has been done to identify why we have high levels of nitrate, and what solutions will the department work on, along with the Environment Minister, to make sure that actually there's an incentive for those putting nitrates into the water table to stop doing that?
Sir, the Deputy should avail himself of the information that's already been published by my colleague, the Environment Minister. And we are working with Jersey Water, we are working with the farming community to reduce nitrates levels, and there has been some significant improvements over recent years, sir.
Deputy Higgins.
Thank you, sir. I'm just following up an earlier comment made by the Minister, and just to see if I heard correctly. Did the Minister say that the flow of nitrogen into the bay has exceeded almost from the time the plant was established, and in breach of what the regulations were? If that is the case, what did the regulator do? Did they fine you? Did they take any action against the Department of Infrastructure, or what?
So again, I'm quite happy to confirm it's not news. But since the limits were set in the 1990s, we haven't met those limits, sir. But when you have your mains water coming out the tap at 40 to 50 milligrams per litre, you're not going to get your water coming out the sewage treatment works at anything less, sir.
Supplementary, sir. My question was about the regulator and the relationship between the regulator and the Minister's department. If you were exceeding the limits, what sanctions were available to the regulator, and why weren't they used?
So that's a question to the regulator, not to myself, sir.
Very well. Comment to Reville.
Thank you, sir. Could the Minister confirm or otherwise that the limit set for the effluent going into the bay is 1/5 of that is considered safe for drinking water?
So I know that our drinking water is typically between 40 to 50 milligrams per litre, and that's the amount of what we're putting into the bay from the sewage treatment works is at a similar level. But yes, our regulated level is at 10 milligrams per litre, so a quarter to a fifth of what the Constable has mentioned, sir.
Well, I have Deputy Taddier, then there'll be a final supplementary. Deputy Taddier.
Can the Minister confirm whether, in fact, dispensations have been issued recently or historically in recent times so that actually Jersey Water can continue to give us the high nitrate water coming out of our taps without facing any kind of sanctions on them?
So again, I'm not the regulator. It's not a question for my department, sir. But as far as I'm aware, I believe that the Deputy Head here is correct, sir.
And would you be able to find out, because I'm sure ministers work together, he works very closely, he's told us, with the Environment Minister, when these dispensations were actually made and whether that's a sustainable way forward? Surely we have laws and limits in place, and if they can be constantly broken with impunity, then that must be not just a democratic problem, but also a health problem for our residents.
Sir, I don't need to ask the Deputy Tadger's questions for him. He's quite capable of asking those questions directly to the department and getting those answers, sir. They're in the public domain.
Very well. Final supplementary, Senator Ferguson.
Thank you. The Minister has placed great reliance on a particular report. Is the Minister aware of the approach taken in the report he quoted, that the results were taken on one day in a straight line with no allowance for seasonality, no results done over a period, and as such, from the scientific point of view, the report is severely flawed?
So I take advice from a whole raft of experts, sir, and in this particular case, the Senator is correct. The testing that was done was on one particular day, and because of that, sir, I've asked for it to be redone by my department, and that's something that we'll be doing over the next few months and continually, sir.
Very well, we now come to question 6.